Please join me in welcoming an individual who has provided leadership to our community during each of the last 5 decades, Mayor Mike Houston.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed their lunch as much as I did. It was certainly good. I haven't got to the dessert yet. You know, last year when I was here at this same occasion, I announced that I was having the time of my life. And whether you believe it or not, now that I'm almost 2 years into office, I am still having the time of my life. Our city is stronger than it was last year. It is growing and it is expanding. I will continue to operate from my core belief that the responsibility of the office of mayor is to provide fiscal discipline, smaller city government, while maintaining first-rate services and integrity. As a candidate, I declared that the city must put its financial house in order. Fiscal discipline was priority 1. Today, I report that for the fiscal year ending this past February 28th, the average daily balance in the corporate fund was a positive $2.8 million a day. I am not saying that we have solved the city's financial problems, but I do believe that we have turned the corner. Whether you're the police chief, the fire chief, or the director of public works, you are held accountable for your budget as well as running your departments on a daily basis. Responsible city government requires responsible budgeting. Last year when I spoke, I focused on the importance of headcount in city government, particularly on the impact that headcount has on our corporate funds, which pays for the basic services. I described that personnel and fringe benefits make up between 94 and 95% of the expenditures of the 2 largest departments in the corporate fund. Those 2 departments are the police department and the fire department, which account for almost 70% of the $115 million of corporate fund expenditures. So it is imperative that we responsibly control our headcount. As of this past February 28th, we have 100 fewer employees than what we had on February 28th of 2011. Now, even with a reduced number of employees, our personal services and fringe benefits grew by $3.4 million. Our operating lines only grew by $31,000. So clearly, the entire expense growth was for salaries, pension contributions, and health care contributions. One of the problem areas that we have is the unfunded liability of our police and fire pension funds. Those 2 funds have approximately $210 million combined. But our unfunded liability is also approximately $210 million. Now let me put that into a perspective that is easy to understand. Under state law, we must bring our police and fire pension funds to a 90% funding level by the year 2040, which I believe we can do if we continue to make the proper actuarial payments. Now, we took action this year to begin addressing our unfunded public safety pension liabilities by putting an additional $1 million over and above our normal contribution from city surplus. It is a small step, to say the least, but it is the first step taken in the right direction for quite some time. Responsible city government means focusing on those things that are important, and headcount is important both from a budgetary perspective as well as the ability to provide services to the people of the city of Springfield. I want to mention that I'm working to make the budget numbers more transparent. We are seeking to create a website query system that will allow the public to actively query revenues, expenses, and potentially vendor payments. We are currently in the process of researching it and working with our financial system vendor for a workable solution. Now, priority 3, maintaining first-rate city services. The city, as a result of financial problems in past years, has not invested in its streets, its sidewalks, or its sewers. Anyone who drives the streets realizes that we need to fix them. Unless your home is having problems with sewer backups or your neighborhood is flooding, you may not realize that we have a major problem with our sewers. In fact, I would say that our sewer problem is far greater than our street problem. Responsible government means tackling problems head on and not deferring it to future generations. The truth is that we can pay to fix our infrastructure now, or we can pay to fix it later. It is not going to fix itself. I have filed 4 ordinances to potentially solve the funding dilemma with our infrastructure problems, which the City Council will discuss this upcoming Tuesday at the Committee of the Whole. Now, some people say that we should cut our budget to pay for this. There is no way that this city can cut its budget enough to pay for it now or at any time in the future. Our revenues for the corporate fund this year is just under $115 million. How do you begin to pay for $86.6 million of infrastructure that the city has not taken care of out of that corporate fund budget? It is simply impossible. The choice is simple. We can continue to drive on streets that tear up our vehicles and cause individuals added expense, or we can pay to fix them. The 4th ordinance would authorize the city to borrow $6 million a year for a 10-year period from the Illinois EPA through the Clean Water Initiative to fix our combined and sanitary sewers. Personally, I believe that this is a superior plan for paying for our combined and sanitary sewer needs instead of increasing the city sales tax by 0.25%. But I would support doing either one because we must address our sewer needs. I think it is important to advise you that if the city does not address its sewer problems, the chances are that the EPA will mandate a program that the city will have to undertake in addition to potentially being fined. The Chamber's endorsement of both ordinances is critically important because the Chamber recognizes the need to fix our infrastructure and, more importantly, the way to pay for it. One of the things that I would ask each of you who are residents of the city of Springfield to do is to contact your alderman, whether you support this or whether you don't support this. I would ask you to contact your alderman and let them know what you are thinking, because they need to hear from you. Our infrastructure problems did not happen overnight. It was caused by the city not investing in our infrastructure. While I did not create these problems, I have offered solutions that will fix the problem and help our community grow, prosper, and attain its economic potential. Again, a responsible city government tackles problems head on and does not defer those to future generations. I want to point out a couple of impressive successes for our Department of Public Works. The department has approximately 30 fewer employees than it had 2 years ago. Director Mahoney had his people trained and certified to be able to tear down structures, which the city had never done before. We removed 25 dangerous and unsafe structures using our staff last winter. Last week, there was media coverage of the conversion of numerous city vehicles to propane, a cleaner burning, and cheaper fuel than gasoline. This is being done through grant funds at no cost to the city, and it provides an opportunity for huge savings in the cost of fuel for our vehicle. I filed an ordinance to purchase a building at Capitol and Martin Luther King Drive that formerly housed Superior Walls that will allow us to consolidate our 4 city garages into a single garage. We estimate being able to save approximately $1.4 million a year when it is fully implemented. The economy has improved, but we have experienced a different type of recovery. Unemployment remains high nationally at 8.4%, with the state of Illinois continuing to exceed the national average at 8.7%, and Springfield continuing to fall both below the national and the state unemployment rates at 7.6%. Springfield retains its position as having the second lowest unemployment rate in the state. Our private sector job numbers have recovered, but our governmental jobs have not, and will probably never recover to the level that existed prior to our economic downturn. Because of our dominant status as a retail hub in central Illinois, we remain a desirable location for additional retailing. The new Lifestyle Center continues construction at the intersection of Interstate 72 and the MacArthur Boulevard extension. We look forward to the groundbreaking of the Outlet Mall at the Legacy Point Town Center sometime in 2013. This past year, Springfield welcomed the Sustainable Design Assessment Team, better known as SDAT, from the American Institute of Architects. I appointed an SDAT Action Committee which is working to bring that vision to our downtown. One of the most important points is clear. For the downtown to remain a viable part of our city, we must increase the number of people who can live there. The central area has a surplus of office space that we are working to convert to upper story residential units while maintaining ground floor level commercial space. Overall, our economy has weathered the economic headwinds, and we are well positioned for future economic growth. There has been renewed interest in Abraham Lincoln and a heightened interest in learning more about Mr. Lincoln by travelers around the globe. Also, I want to remind you of 2 major victories that happened this past year. As was mentioned earlier, there was a record of decision to use the 10th Street Railroad Corridor for high-speed rail, and the reversal of the decision to close our local post office's processing and distribution center, which would have meant the reduction of a large number of well-paying jobs in Springfield. We not only are not losing jobs, we are gaining jobs that are being moved to this community. Already, Springfield is coming back strong, and with an infrastructure plan in place, it can come back stronger and be more prosperous than ever before. Our accomplishments over the past 2 years show us that one thing is clear. We can defy the odds and deny the naysayers, and we can accomplish anything that we set out to do together. Our city will rise to meet the challenges of tomorrow and leave a foundation for future administrations. God bless you, and God bless the great American city of Springfield. Thank you.